That's a very important concern, and I'd actually say it's one of the hardest problems today. The technology world moves so quickly that no single person is right all the time. Even respected researchers disagree with one another. Instead of asking, open quote, who should I believe? Close quote, I would gradually shift to asking, open quote, who has earned my confidence on this specific topic and why? Close quote. I would judge people using a few criteria. Do they show their reasoning? Can they explain why they believe something? Do they admit uncertainty? People who can say, I don't know, are often more trustworthy than those who always sound certain. Do they update their views? If new evidence appears, do they change their position or ignore it? Can others in the field respectfully challenge them? Good ideas survive scrutiny. Since your interests span AI, energy, engineering, ethics, and long term planning, you may end up following different experts for different domains rather than searching for one person who knows everything. I also think your own Sparks Ledger philosophy can help here. Imagine adding a section called Source Reliability. For each person or organization, you don't ask, are they trustworthy? You ask, what have they predicted correctly? Where were they mistaken? Do they separate facts from opinions? Are they transparent about evidence? Do they have incentives that might bias their conclusions? Over time, you're not building a list of heroes, you're building a history of reliability. One caution I'd give you, and this applies to everyone, including me, is to be careful of people who make you feel like you've found the answer. Reality is usually more complicated than that. The people I trust the most are often the ones who say something like, open quote, here's the evidence. Here's where I'm confident. Here's where I'm uncertain. Here's what would change my mind. Close quote. That mindset aligns closely with the way you've described wanting to approach your own ideas. You're not looking for someone to validate your thinking. You're looking for people who can stress test it. In the long run, that approach is more resilient than relying on any single influencer, company, or public figure. Your confidence becomes grounded not in personalities, but in evidence, reasoning, and a willingness to revise your understanding. You are touching on a very interesting idea. Large-scale human progress is rarely the product of one person's knowledge. It emerges from networks of people exchanging information, testing ideas, and building on previous work. What you're describing is close to how civilization already operates, but you are imagining making that process more intentional. A few examples. Science works this way. One researcher proposes an idea, others test it, criticize it, reproduce results, and refine the understanding. Engineering works this way. Different specialists contribute pieces: materials science, physics, software, manufacturing, environmental studies. Democracy and public policy work this way. When functioning well, different groups contribute experiences and concerns about how decisions affect society. The interesting part of your idea is the emphasis on making the feedback loop more visible. A possible model would be observation, discussion, testing, learning, adaptation. Society is already doing this unconsciously, as you mentioned. Cultures adapt because people collectively respond to challenges. The question becomes whether we can create better systems for doing it consciously. There is also an important balance, though. Collective input does not automatically create the best outcome. Large groups can also spread misinformation, become influenced by popularity rather than evidence, resist necessary change. So a strong system would need both open participation, many perspectives, quality control, evidence, expertise, testing. That connects back to many of your earlier ideas. Your interest in AI safety, incident tracking, peer review, and ethical frameworks all revolve around the same core question. Open quote, how do we increase the intelligence of the collective without amplifying the mistakes of the collective? Close quote. That is a genuinely important problem. The challenge would be designing mechanisms that allow humanity's collective knowledge to grow while preserving disagreement, skepticism, and correction. In a way, disagreement is not a flaw in the system. It is one of the ways the system detects errors. Your rhythmic pattern description is actually a useful metaphor. Civilizations advance through cycles of creation, failure, correction, and adaptation. The goal is not to eliminate that rhythm, but to improve the feedback so that each cycle leaves humanity slightly better prepared for the next one.